How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. I'm really excited because today I got to interview the CEO and founder of a project that I am going to invest in. I'm very bullish on this project. And to be clear, this isn't a paid review or anything like that. I just genuinely wanted to talk with the founder because this is a project that I think has high potential. And other people think that too. Rob from Digital Asset News, he's got a channel bigger than mine. He recently talked about this project, and this is on his second channel. He talked about how, in his words, this could have more potential than any other cryptocurrency that he's ever talked about on the channel, more upside potential. I also know that they're going to be on Altcoin Daily's channel very soon. And recently I did a video talking about how to buy and stake Tencent tokens to be able to get in on this cryptocurrency in future launches. I'll put that video on the end screen. Now, the really cool thing about using Tencent Launchpad is they have a 7-day claim back policy. So if you don't like how this token launches, you don't lose out. It's essentially risk-free. Of course, there's always risk with investing, but this is one of the safer ways to invest in newer projects. But I'm just going to roll the clip of our conversation. There are links underneath the video in case you want to learn more. How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today we get to speak with the CEO of Alvara, Dominic. Dominic, welcome to the channel.
Thanks, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. I'm glad you could come here. And to be clear, this isn't a paid promotion or anything like that. I just generally and genuinely wanted to talk to you because I'm going to be investing in Alvara. I just bought Tencent tokens. I staked as many as I could to get the max allocation. And recently I saw you were on Rob's channel, right? Rob from Digital Asset News. And I was surprised at the very beginning of the video because I'm interested and excited for Alvara, but I think these are his exact words. He thinks Alvara could have the most upside of any token or crypto that he's ever talked about on the channel. So I wanted to talk to you here and see what you guys were bringing to the market.
Yeah, I think obviously there's a lot to get to from where we are now to the potential, but whenever you're looking for, I used to work at a traditional venture capital firm. So my background, I was a stockbroker, started out 250 cold calls a day, just junior broker, classic sort of sales role in the pits before trial by fire, as they say. And then I was trading derivatives and ran the trading desk at the end of the firm and moved to St. James's Place Wealth Management, which is a FTSE 100 wealth manager here in the UK. And then after that, I was in traditional venture capital. The reason I mentioned this is whenever you're looking at any sort of new venture, you always look at the addressable market and you look at the the scale of what you're looking at, because if you are investing into, let's say, we did a lot of renewable energy and asset-backed investing like care homes, incredibly profitable investment, but you know that that's not going to be a Microsoft or a Google by definition. It's still a great investment because you have properties and you have income, you have like government contracts, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be a unicorn, is it? And Alvara, in terms of its scope and scale, is a huge market, an ever expanding global financial system. The asset management market, by definition, creates value, as in it creates increases in assets under management. The money in the companies grows, and so it doesn't have any limitations. And so with crypto, you invest in a game, a metaverse, you can do very well. You can go from some millions to some billions. But in terms of the scale of what we could get this to, it could be, there's no limitations in terms of sector. It could really, be one of the top tokens if we get everything right in terms of like our market and become a leader in that area.
Sure. Yeah, it's very exciting. Maybe for the people that don't know what Alvara is, could you explain it, like what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll run through the platform just as I go so that everyone can see what we're trying to do. There's two elements really. So Alvara protocol and the Alvara ERC20 token, the Alva token, is one element. The secondary element is the ERC BTS, which has now got an official number and is the ERC 7621. So Alvara designed this token standard. It's a real one. It's not like the 404 where they just invented the number and decided to call it that as a marketing thing. We have actually been issued the number 7621. And that's like a placeholder until it gets approved. Like the ERC20, it took 2 years. 6551 still hasn't been approved, but yet Vitalik writes about it. So the main thing is getting a number, and then mass adoption will do the rest for you. And so the token standard is, of course, open source by definition. You can't gatekeep a token standard or it won't be a standard. And so we are building the infrastructure to facilitate the mass adoption of what was the ERC BTS basket token standard. And we want that to become the go-to sort of wrapper for on-chain asset and fund management. And so we have competitors in this area who have tried to launch similar protocols, but they have not produced or attempted to produce an aggregated standard of which everybody can use as a uniform go-to. And that means that, you know, like AstraDAO or Enzyme, they all have their different terminologies, they all have their different codes. And so you have vaults, you have baskets, you have funds, you have ETFs, and everyone calls it something different, or like indexes, but you don't have a means of comparison, which is obviously very, very important. And so we've created the BTS in order to allow for that, because if we can get the go-to standard for on-chain management and get it synonymous with it, like how the NFT is just the NFT, it's not the ERC 721 anymore, even though it is. But when people mint an NFT, you know, by definition, they're minting an ERC 721, but it is just the NFT. And so that is the plan with what we're facilitating here is mass adoption through scalability and ease of use. And so anybody can come on and add an image. I'm just taking one from, I think it's a liquidation heat map on Bitcoin or ETH from some time in the past, but we can call, what should we call this? My financial, we'll put MFF. So one of the reasons that others are held back is the fact that they don't allow for governance-based, they only allow for governance-based management, which is, you know, asking everyone's opinion before you make any sort of change. And obviously they do this for the right reason, but in reality, by doing that, you very much, you know, alienate 99.99% of the traditional asset and fund management market, because in reality, you trust the manager to make their decisions and you don't need to sign off on every one. And so they do this for a good reason. They want to make sure that there's no nefarious actors. However, by telling people who can or can't manage, you know, this sort of vehicle, you're essentially doing the job of the regulator, which is, you know, picking who can manage a fund. And so we are the Uniswap labs to the Uniswap, or like the Cardano Foundation to Cardano. We are managing the decentralized infrastructure, but we are not controlling it and we're not gatekeeping it. It is a public good. We are just managing it and facilitating the mass adoption. And that's an important distinction, because that's how, you know, so many tokens are gone after by the Securities Exchange Commission as securities, but yet they don't go after Uniswap where they all list, which is an interesting distinction not a lot of people think about. And the reason why is decentralization, not having, not having like people who can interfere and decide. And so that's the exact reason we're doing it. So in reality, by trying to control and keep every individual safe from all outcomes, you're shooting the majority in the foot, because you're centralizing to protect like individuals and putting everybody at risk. So we allow for discretionary management. Our job is to let people know where there could be potential for a bad actor. So for example, if somebody mints a fund, let's say I'm adding in, we'll just make this one a quick metaverse basket and stick a bit of Axiom. So a minimum of 5% has to be in the Alva token. That's not a fee, that is just a stipulation for anyone who wants to use the factory contract. Anybody can hand code it themselves, they don't need the 5%. This is just effectively for using the infrastructure, 5% of every factory minted one is in the Alvara token. But managers can make changes. Oh, let me do some maths off the cuff here. 5, 35, 70, 90, 10. There we go. Good thing about that, eh? So let's put, let's go for 0.4. It did have a 1 ETH minimum, but Gorally ETH, it's very, very difficult to get nowadays. So decided to lower that, and let me submit and hope Gorally is being quick. But yeah, essentially, we just need to flag to people where there could be a situation where somebody creates a BTS and they don't submit any information, they don't connect to Twitter, they don't submit KYC. In reality, like I say, just like how anyone can list any token on Uniswap, ours is the same. But we need to give people that trust score. Like if on PancakeSwap, if you go to buy a honeypot, they'll tell you this looks like a honeypot, don't buy it. If you choose to ignore that and go through with it anyway, you can't really cry foul that you've just got honeypotted because you literally got told you were about to get honeypotted and decided to do it anyway. And so we need people to take a bit of responsibility for themselves, because that helps to protect everybody.
Okay.
So as you can see here, everything goes onto this leaderboard, which is like everyone loves a good trending, CMC, CoinGecko, DexTools style. But I'll show you the transaction. And on Gorally, you can see we called the create BTS function on the smart contract, and it swaps everything into these underlying allocations, mints the BTS to my wallet, and then it appears here on the leaderboard. And so this allows us to aggregate any token standard, any other 7621, whether it's minted through the factory or coded, will appear here. Just like how with OpenSea, you can mint NFTs using OpenSea, but they pull everything through, every 721, every 1155. And we are the same in that sense. And the key part of all of this, which makes this from just, a bit of a gimmick and a bit of a marketing and like a copy trading thing, and turns it into actual infrastructure on an institutional level, is the fact that whenever anybody contributes to anybody else's basket of tokens, they receive in return, let's wait and see how long Gorally takes to index this, but if not, there's always the one I made earlier. Always a way, isn't it? As soon as you need it.
Yeah, that's a fun thing about crypto. You never know how long it will take. But
I'll give it an extra 10%. There we go. See what that does.
This is all real time too.
There we go. So right, that was a transaction confirmed. So there we go. So yeah, calling the contribute function on the actual token itself. And the key part is, well, everything swaps as per already seen. But if you take a look here, I have now received the MFFLP token. And the reason this is important is because that is a fully unique and fully transferable ERC20 token, which represents your part of that overall BTS. And why this is important is it means that you can build staking, you can build governance, you can build lending strategies, you can build derivatives, you can build and innovate as much as you could with any other ERC20 token around and on top of your BTS. So not only are you earning 1% of the AUM of everything in there, if you have a successful BTS and you are earning enough to justify it, or if you would like to approach this, with a full business plan, build a website, tell people why you are the right manager, why and your background and how that helps, and try and actually build a business, you can mint a business, manage a business, and even sell a business all through our marketplace. Because if you come up with an idea, let's say top Animoca liquid tokens invested in by them in 2021, if that gets popular enough that people are contributing to it, you can sell the rights to that income stream on our marketplace, just for having the idea and being the first one to mint that and put that into place. And so this allows for not just infrastructure like, let's say, Curve Finance is a great infrastructure, and it's launched top 100 tokens like Convex that couldn't exist without it. You also have Yearn, Pickle Finance, Beefy Finance, Staked Out. None of those could exist without Curve's underlying infrastructure. And yet they've spawned protocols worth tens of millions, hundreds of millions, and billions. We have that level of infrastructure, but rather than tens or hundreds of liquidity aggregators, we have the ability for thousands and tens of thousands of individual sub-DAOs and sub-protocols, all built on top of Alvara as this underlying infrastructure, facilitating the mass adoption of this token standard. So we are this very, very bottom layer, and the web is just exponential because anyone can mint a fund, anyone can be successful. It's pure meritocracy. It doesn't matter if you have a CFA, it doesn't matter if you have a degree, it doesn't matter if you've got a master's, PhD, or whatever. If you are the best, then you will rise to the top. There's no glass ceiling. Like, even though I had 10 years of experience in traditional finance, if I applied to JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, I would never get a reply. And that's because I didn't have a degree. I did very well at my stockbrokers on my gap year, and I just never went. But because I didn't have that tick box, even though I had 10 years of experience in the financial industry and professional exams from like Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments, I didn't have that piece of paper that said I drank beer for 3 years. And so I wasn't allowed in. Yeah. And so this gets rid of all of that. There is no, there's no nepotism, keeping stuff in the family. There's no pushing people out due to educational background. It is pure meritocracy where the talent rises to the top. However, it's also very important that we incentivize institutions and whales to accumulate and to use this platform. And so the platform maintains its meritocracy, but what we've given, which makes this truly institutional in nature, is we've taken the same gauge weight style governance of Curve Finance and applied it to the BTS's LP tokens. So what that means is that just like how you had the Curve Wars, where you had Convex, you had Staked DAO and Yearn all fighting for as much VE curve as possible, the vote escrow curve to vote and send rewards to the LP pools, we've taken that mechanic, and so Alva is staked for VE Alva. VE Alva is used to vote and send Alvara rewards to your BTS's LP token holders. How do they get those LP tokens? By contributing to your BTS, which means that the more Alvara you own and the more you stake, the more rewards and yield you can send your BTS's LP token holders. They still get exposure to all of the upside from any growth, but they also earn a yield just for sitting in your BTS, which means that the more people will contribute, the more fees you earn, the more you can buy of Alva, the more you can stake, the more votes you can send, the more yield. And so it's a self-perpetuating and self-fulfilling prophecy where if you do not have the best performance and you are sitting on page 5, page 6, and you do not have the, you've got all of these people doing better than you, you may not have the performance, but you may have the capital. And if you do have the capital, then you can deploy as much of it as you want and incentivize people into your BTS by sending rewards. And so that gives institutional level competition. That gives a constant, the retail side of it, the consumer facing side, that is 5% buy pressure every factory minted BTS, 5% buy pressure, all at a minimum, people can have more, every time anyone contributes to a factory minted BTS, alongside the revenue streams of a NFT marketplace with the secondary marketplace of fees, all of the revenue options of CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, Dextools, combined with the on and off ramp, 0.5% in, 0.5% out, to a whole new asset class, and every contribution into any BTS minted, whether it's regardless of whether it's through us or hand coded. And all of that is buy pressure. None of that is selling down our own token in order to make revenue. All of that is pure ETH revenue. And there's no action without a reaction. Even the sell pressure that people could argue is from sending Alvara rewards to BTS LP token holders, in order to vote to send it, you've had to lock away your Alva. So you've had to purchase that Alva in the first place. And so this is where the scale of this and how big it could be is so much different to anything else out there. Like this could truly, and of course we have to do tons of stuff and go from where we are now to, where we could be. But in terms of its scale, what we're targeting and where we want to go, like we want this to be the top ERC20 token of all time. And if we do everything right, the BTS, the ERC 7621 becomes that go-to token standard where people don't even think about it, but they are if you're creating an on-chain fund, you use the ERC 7621. And then when Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, says tokenization of assets on the blockchain of the future, it's like when all of these Web 2 companies come on chain to mint their NFT collection. Can you imagine if they came on chain and they didn't use the 721 or 1155, they created their own NFT and tried to sell it? Well, where would people buy it? There's no secondary marketplace because everybody uses the 721 because it's the token standard for that. And so if we get that level of adoption of the BTS before traditional finance flood in, if you believe in crypto, then you believe tokenization of assets being the future, then this could be huge. It'd be like a Fidelity on chain because anyone can access anything, all in a decentralized manner. And this is just the liquid side of it, the liquid crypto side. We're getting to the point where we're talking to people like Coinbase Custody, Fireblocks, and Falcon X in order to try and tokenize centralized exchange liquidity, because the objections we're getting are really bullish ones, like concern that DEX liquidity won't keep pace with our ambitions. Because obviously with DEX liquidity, it needs to, best execution slippage is so important in like traditional finance, like 0.01% can lose a contract. So yeah, the scale of what we're targeting, like using the BTS as like a multi-SPAC, raising money, as long as it can be tokenized, it can be put into a BTS. So commodities, property, real world assets, anything that can be liquid can be wrapped inside. And so the web and like the layers to this are just astronomical, which is why it's so important and why we try and push everyone to watch like a demo, because yeah, there's just an infinite web. Even now I think of new things, or people tell me new things that they think it could be used for. So yeah, it's certainly going to be exciting.
Nice. Well, I think there's a lot of good information that you gave there. And I think you might have covered this a little bit, but very simply, let's say someone's sitting at home thinking, why should I use this? Or why would I want to invest in this? Why can't I just go either buy on Coinbase? I buy $10 every week, and then I just go buy $1 of Axie and then $3 or something else. Or maybe I wait for BlackRock to come out with an ETF that comes out with a basket of goods or something like that. Maybe that's coming in the future. Or maybe I use some investing platform and they automatically buy like little different allocations for me. We have a couple things like that out right now, but they do have usually higher fees because they're traditional finance. But what would you say to someone like that?
Well, there's a few, everything always depends on people's context and what they're looking for in terms of like their, everyone's money is their own. However, we've got rid of any reason to not use the BTS and Alvara, in that people complain sometimes about flexibility, and even if it is a governance-based BTS, people often, if let's say you have Luna and the UST scenario, you don't want to say to anyone, guys, I think that there's going to be a black swan. Can I stable in 3 days' time? Because it's not really going to help if it's a 3-day vote passed to stable. By that time, it's done. So we've got an emergency stables option so that people can, even if they have a governance-based BTS, the manager can go to stables at the click of a button, because it doesn't lose anyone money. Opportunity cost maybe if the market keeps going up, but it's not enough of an objection where the allowance of having that sort of counteracts any bad effect or negativity. So we allow for basically the ownership of the BTS within your wallet. And the good part of that, for the safety of others, is that no one can get into the BTS unless they have the corresponding LP tokens, which means that even though it's in your wallet, you aren't accessing anything inside it to change allocations. When you're managing that, you're doing so from the exterior as the owner in an internal interface. So everybody has that security. The BTS itself allows for other people to pool assets within and you to earn from that as a manager. And the good part of this is that you don't even need to go in with the intention of building assets under management. If you are managing your own portfolio in a BTS, you might wake up like one day and find people who have contributed, because you don't need to advertise it. You just need people to find you, or your performance to allow for price discovery, where people realize that this guy's onto something, or this guy's very good at what he does. And so we're also having conversations with centralized exchanges, because on like the home screen of like, or the assets page on like Coinbase or Binance, you have just a list of these tokens and they're sitting there and they're not really doing anything. But can you imagine if you had a list of those tokens, you click a button, it wraps it into a BTS, which uploads it onto like NFT marketplace. People can scroll through and see what other users have in their BTS, which is just what they have in their account on like Binance or Coinbase, and they can choose to contribute. Nothing changes for you on the app, but you can earn an income stream just from clicking a button, wrapping into a BTS. Other people can contribute to your wallet. You don't even need to know it's happening. It doesn't change anything about what you have, but you're earning that revenue potentially from just doing everything that you already did. There's no change. It's all just an on-chain change, but it's not in account change. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, I've said change too many times now. But it's just a way to essentially earn a passive, well, potentially passive, depending on how aware you are of it. But all of these are just, there's so many different avenues with this that it can to explain them all is just impossible, because I even think of like new ones and other people tell me new ones now, but we've essentially got rid of any of the objections, which is why we're now dealing with, the great to have objections of like, what if DEX liquidity doesn't keep pace with your ambitions, which is a hell of a problem to have if we had it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's all really good. A really good explainer there. Maybe you can give some ideas for what's happening over the next few weeks. Like, I know that the token is launching. Is there other stuff going on too?
Yeah, so we've got the token IDO going live in the next, I think on Monday, and then the token launch, as in liquidity being added for the Alvara token, is on the 5th, I think 10 days after. What we're focusing on at the moment is onboarding real life like funds, and we already have commitments. Some of our investors like Alpha Transform Holdings, which is Enzo and Michael Turpin's fund, and Michael Turpin did the PR for Ethereum's ICO, and he was one of the team. So they will be actually managing their funds through Alvara. We're talking to other publicly listed companies who are also looking to manage funds through Alvara. So our focus is really on, in the UK, we say look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves. And we are steering for the mass adoption via the gamification of this leaderboard, by incentivizing, anyone to come on and manage a fund on the platform, whether you are doing it as an institution or just doing it as a bit of fun. And so if we can get the mass adoption element, the pennies will look after themselves. And our job as the Alvara Foundation is managing the relationship with institutions and having those high level conversations, integrating, with exchanges, whether it's within the app or, future listings, which probably come from that. But yeah, our focus is really on this, on the non-low hanging fruit and on the like really game-changing conversations where real like adoption of actual traditional finance coming onto the blockchain. So that's where we're spending the most time and maintaining, the aspects of it that everybody will use. But we're having some really like exciting conversation with really big names. So yeah, watch this space.
Yeah. Now, obviously the product already works. You're trying to onboard people, or you are onboarding people as well. Do you have an idea for when this might go public, where like I could start making BTS tokens or make baskets on this platform?
So we should be deploying to mainnet for testing purposes at least. There's always a you can only test so much on Gorally. Like we've done tons, and like the amount of demos I've done for it, and so far all good. But we're going to do some testing on mainnet. Obviously, as you can imagine, like the transaction of minting a new token standard, which also swaps like 5 other tokens within it and gives an NFT all in one, is a very expensive transaction to have for us to do the demos on like mainnet, because otherwise we'd be spending like tons of ETH every single time. So we will be doing some mainnet testing beforehand, obviously, just in case there's anything that's crops up between that and testnet, but there's no reason it should do. But yeah, we're hoping to have it out for launch. So launch of the token, that is. So next couple of weeks, hopefully. We're going to start by like bringing on board some well-known names and faces, and then go from there to open it up, make sure that everybody can use it.
That's great. I don't know if you can talk about this, because usually this is kind of under wraps, but do you have any information on listings, like any exchanges, or is that something that you can't talk about yet?
I mean, we can always say that. I mean, I've listed tokens before on like my first protocol, which was Gaming and Metaverse, which is the one behind me, is on like KuCoin, Huobi, Gate, 10 plus others. So I've always I have those group chats already. Really, we're focusing like on more highbrow, let's say. But really, we're talking to, again, when I say low hanging fruit versus like higher hanging fruit, when we're having conversations, we're trying to talk to them about stuff like wrapping their tokens for individual users within their app. Because can you imagine the increase in like engagement from users if they could do all of that like within like a Coinbase or Binance app, where you can, it adds like a whole new dimension to it, especially with Coinbase NFT, because they haven't had much success. But this could be huge. And so we are having the conversations with exchanges, but one thing I've learned is that unless they are with a certain tier like KuCoin, Bybit, OKX plus, like they only hurt the price. Some people think that every exchange listing is bullish, but I can tell you for nothing, like that is not true. Like some of them actively hurt the price. So more than happy to talk with listing managers from good exchanges, but just we're not the type, and we've been here, got the t-shirt enough to know that like being selective is good and in the benefit of everyone. So yes, we're certainly having the conversations, but they are with the level of exchanges that take their time, because they are good ones.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I'll leave links obviously underneath the video to Alvara, but what can people do right now to get involved if they're interested?
I say, if they've already watched everything, then I'd say jump into our social, jump onto our docs and read more about it. If you haven't already, we've got lots and lots of demo videos. I think we've managed to condense one to like 3 minutes, which is like as good as I can get it, and I talk incredibly fast. But try and get familiar, because once people fully understand the scale of what we're trying to build, it's not a guarantee that we'll get there, but once people get the scale, and get the scope of what we're trying to do here, then everyone is always super bullish. It's just our main problem is it's not just a new DeFi protocol, which are usually quite hard to understand in the first place. It's also a new DeFi protocol built around a brand new token standard, which only existed because we brought it to market. So it's like 2 brand new areas, but once people get it, then they are all like, could be incredible. But education is the main thing. But we're trying our best to get as many demos like this and chats with people like yourselves out to try and tell people and show people, because nothing quite explains it like seeing it in the flesh.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I appreciate you coming on the channel. We'll have to do this again, and I'll be continuously talking about Alvara, I'm sure, as you guys have more news. But I appreciate you coming on.
When MFF BTS? That's the question that we all want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go check it out here very soon. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Bye. Nice.
There we go. I'll send you the recording. I think it will just, it goes into a Google Drive link, so it'll take a little bit to like buffer and everything. But yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, and excited about this too. Like legitimately really excited for the launch and everything you guys have going. So glad we could get on a video too. I might do like a little intro even before what we did earlier, just to give a little bit more context. But yeah, I'll try to get this done. I don't know if I'm gonna post it in the next few days or wait for the weekend, and that way I can let it breathe a little bit more because I won't be posting as much. But I'll let JM know, or the founder of Tencent know, and he'll message you probably as soon as it goes live.
Oh, good. Yeah, I think we got, I don't know what the order they're going in is, but we got Leia, Halpin, and Altcoin Daily going out over the next few days as well. But I think Leia might be today or tomorrow, and then Altcoin Daily I think it's going to be like maybe Friday. Okay. But yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't matter, just in case you want to be before like Altcoin Daily.
Yeah. Okay.
Or after, because then people might, you know, it might give better engagement after rather than before, but I don't know. But yeah, I think honestly, like, you know, it doesn't mean we will get there. Like, the problem in crypto is, because I have a background in traditional finance, we were taught to balance everything that we say. If we say a positive, we have to balance it with a negative. Like, have you seen how good this trade went? But obviously not all trades are winning trades, and past performance isn't reliable. And so I underplay stuff, and then, yeah, it holds you back in crypto. Everyone loves scams because they just don't tell you the bad parts. But yeah, honestly, if the token standard becomes a go-to token standard, like, it's like OpenSea releasing the NFT at the same time. That's like the level of like first mover advantage. And yeah, now we've got the official number, which we haven't actually announced yet, but I presumed it would be out in a few days, and so that's why I said it on here. Hopefully that's a catalyst to get people to, like, because yeah, everyone loved the ERC 404, which wasn't even real. So I'll be very pissed off if people don't like this, when it is actually, like, we did it the right way. But knowing crypto, no one will give a shit. Everyone loves a scam.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, and I see some projects actually leaning into it. Like, I've seen a couple projects talk about how they are Ponzi's and stuff like that, which in the bull market, I don't think it really matters as much. Like, if a crypto is a Ponzi, like, people will invest in it even if they know it's a Ponzi. In a bear market, everyone's like dumping those. I'm not going to hold them, but yeah, obviously.
It's all flywheel, isn't it? As in, like, if it's going this way, it's all good because it keeps on going, and then suddenly if it starts going backwards, it just picks up speed and rolls back down the hill. But,
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky. Everything's fully collateralized, as in it's not even representations of like the tokens within them. Like, it's actually all done on chain. So yeah, excited. I will. I'll keep you up to date with anything of note news wise, and yeah, we can chat again whenever.
Appreciate it. Sounds good, man.
Nice one. All right, I'll send you the link to the same email that you booked in with. It'll probably take like half an hour or so to download my end, but as soon as I get it, I'll share it. Anyone can edit.
Okay, awesome. Appreciate it.
Good stuff. All right, cheers. See you later.